Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Eastland Career Center. My name is Ryan Gasser, and I am with the marketing and communications team here for the district. And we are live inside of the Robotics Learning Center inside the Eastland Career Center campus. Right now, we are actually touring the Robotics Center, which is also the home of the brand new Industrial Automation program for adult workforce development. We're taking a little bit of a walk around, but here's what we got for you today. We have our instructor, Mr. Tom Looker, that is going to be taking us on a tour of what exactly you're looking at, because quite frankly, I'm not sure that I know what I'm looking at. That's why we bring in the experts. So Mr. Looker is going to give us a little bit of a tour of what you're looking at and how it connects to the Industrial Automation Adult Program. And then as soon as we're done there, we're going to bring in Adult Workforce Development Director Todd Hoffman to answer your questions about Eastland-Fairfield as well as the Industrial Automation Program and registering for it. So before we get too deep into everything else, I want to introduce to you the Industrial Automation Instructor, Mr. Tom Looker, who comes to us from right across the street at KDC1. So Tom, thank you for joining us today, as well as thank you for agreeing to be the instructor of what we are calling the Future of Manufacturing. This program is going to ready those that are in the manufacturing industry, maybe even wanting to change their career to get into manufacturing and adjusting for all that there is to adjust for as it progresses into 2025. So Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from and how you got looped into being our instructor for industrial automation?
Sure, not a problem. Like you said, I'm Tom Looker. I work at KDC1 across the street. I am their automation and controls manager. I've been working with industrial controls for over 30 years. I've started and worked my way up through them. It's an ever-growing and changing industry. I've seen so many changes in my 30 years. It's just outstanding to me. And a lot of them really has happened recently. I would say in the last 15 years. Everything's connected to the internet nowadays. Everybody wants instant access. And this program is going to be able to get you to it. It's a growing field. I'm personally short 2 technicians, so if you know anyone interested, please reach out to KDC1. Let us know.
So tell me a little bit about what you do at KDC1. What does someone in your position do every day?
In my position, I help my guys troubleshoot machines, the automation parts of it, the electrical parts of it. I do some design work for modifications on machines, do some program changes, electrical changes. I do a little bit of everything when it comes to controls and wires. I'm responsible for everything that has a wire inside of KDC. That includes the outlets in the wall, the lights above your head, the power to your network switches, the valves we use to make our products, the valves we use to shift it over to production floors, all the machines in the production floors, the dock lock safety protection for the overhead doors. It's got a wire. It's pretty much in my wheelhouse.
Well, it sounds like when you take a day off, the place has a chance of falling apart. That's what it means. So you are very qualified. You know what you're talking about. Now, how does what you are doing relate to the curriculum or relate to the industrial automation program here at Eastland-Fairfield?
How it relates is that everything this program will teach you is part of the job, my job, and part of my guys' job. We make like this behind me is relays, lights, push buttons. It's very simplified. It's something you will learn here, how to make circuits, how to troubleshoot the circuits. But this basic stuff is all over there in the machines, just on a bigger scale and a lot more wires typically.
So normally what we do is we teach you skills and then we apply them to what happens in the factories, in the manufacturing plants. And so this is just one of those examples of something on a small scale that you're going to be able to implement into a big time picture.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So take us a little bit of a tour. Can you show us a little bit about some of the machinery that we're going to be working on if you're a student here in the industrial automation program?
And another thing about when you're in industrial automation, you'll learn that you've got to be a jack of all trades because electronics touches everything. Like over here, we have our hydraulic maintenance learning station, which has got a pump that's controlled by AC voltage. So you will be required at some point in your field, your job is this isn't working, so they're going to first expect you to troubleshoot it to know where it's at. So is it truly a motor? Is it truly power? Or do you have to know enough to come through here and say, well, I don't have any pressure here, so that means I'm not getting pressure to my filter, so I've got a problem somewhere else, which could be as simple as somebody's turned the valve off, manual, but it could be done. We have that happen a lot, not just KDC, but other places I've been.
So we're looking at something that is going to help train our students to troubleshoot things when bad things happen on the
That's
job.
right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
All right. So this looks like a lot of hoses. It looks like we got some tools. We've got some replacement parts. So
Yeah.
tell me what you would work with a student on this particular machine and how that's going to prepare them for their job.
Well, the nice thing about each one of these training learning systems is there's a step-by-step procedure that starts out with the basics, and we work through the basics to get to the point where we're actually being able to troubleshoot different circuits along the way. So we're not expecting you to, like you see it right now, come up and tell me what everything is, how it all works. We're going to start out with the simple stuff. We're going to first get some oil in here. We're going to then do our filter circuits, and then we're going to go from there so we can actually move our cylinder right here. So we'll eventually get to that, but that's just like walking in life. You don't start running, you start with crawling, and then we work our way up from there.
And that's what Eastland-Fairfield here is to do. We are here to help train our students so that they can begin walking and then running right into their next job. So we've already got our first question, and it looks like our moderator, Josh, who is over there taking your questions, has answered the first one. But in case you can't see it, or for everybody that'll be coming in later, Nick has asked, how long is the program? Well, because it is an 800 clock hour class, that means it's going to be between 8 and 9 months. And most of the adult programs here at Eastland-Fairfield are between 8 and 10 months. So this one is a little bit shy of 10. That means you just get out and into a job quicker.
That's right.
Awesome. So, Tom, take us to another piece of machinery. This one looks pretty cool, but I know we got a whole lot of other ones here in the building.
We got a bunch. This one's electric relay control system. This is going to teach you how to hook up, how relays work, how you can start troubleshooting relay circuits. And when I got my certification for this, the final step is the cool one, because you hook up both your cylinders, you hook up several of the contactors through here, so when you turn it on, you'll watch it be able to sit there and cycle itself. And that way you know it's working correctly. Lights will change colors for you. But another one that you work your way up with the basics, and then at the final stage, you get to see what it's going to be like in the real world, where we're measuring different sensors in order to fire the actuators at the right time in the right sequence, so you can learn when something doesn't work and that's not firing, how to troubleshoot to know if my problem's here, like somebody's got this in the wrong position, or if I've actually got a bad output on the relay. It'll teach you all of that.
Now, Tom, for a guy like me, this looks like a lot of gibberish, but I'm certain that is your job, is to make sense of it all for us. So,
yeah.
Can anybody come in and begin learning this, or should we have them prepare for a program like this with classes or training, or can anybody just come in?
Well, I would love to say just anybody can come in and do it, but it's not that you need special skills to start with. You got to have the right mentality to start with it. Because if you don't have the right mentality, it won't matter. I can show you everything in the world. I can give you the answers. But if you don't have the right mentality to want to learn it and be able to understand it, then it's not going to matter that much.
So it sounds like Tom's only prerequisite is that you come ready to learn and you come ready to work.
Willingness to learn and work, and that's going to get you far.
All right, very good, Tom. So I know that we've got a couple of machines here. We've been through 2 of them.
Yeah.
Can you take me through another one?
Well, we'll come over to this one. It's not running at this point, but it's something that represents what you'll find out in the field a lot. As this is a sorting machine, a very small sorting machine. So you put in different cubes, which I left over here, and it'll sort between the plastic cube and the metal cube. And if you don't have it positioned correctly, it'll tell you that it's wrong and it'll reject it.
Awesome. So when you say that this is on a smaller scale, obviously we're looking at this and this is on a tabletop.
Right.
How big are we talking that these machines get when you get into a factory and on the job?
Last sorting machine I worked on, I think it had several hundred feet of conveyor. So it was going through and it was scanning the packages at the time to be able to know where to send the package, if it was a good package, if it was a bad package. So they could be quite large.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, if we are talking a sorting machine, now you're starting to talk my lingo.
Yeah.
What kind of facilities, maybe what kind of companies are using these sorts of machines that our students might find themselves in their next job?
Well, something like this would definitely help you get ready for a job at Bath and Body Works warehouse. Um, just slipped my tongue. Victoria's Secret's warehouse, Amazon's warehouses, because it's not exactly the same, but it gets you familiar enough with the process of trying to determine what's good, what's bad, that you can take it and use it when you go there.
Now, I'm just asking because I'm a guy with no knowledge.
Yeah.
Are the students that are coming through this program going to learn how to program, how to do maintenance, how to operate a machine, all of the above? Tell me a little bit about what they're going to learn.
It's going to be a little bit above because you're going to have to learn like this one. There's a certain sequence to step through in order to get this unit to run. So you're going to learn how to do the sequence. You're going to learn basic maintenance skills because in this learning center is the skills needed to, this is our motor here. This is our spindle on our shaft. You will learn how to take this apart, how to take it off of a belt driven, which is what it is now, to a chain driven, how to do your tensioning on your chain, how to realign everything up, which is all going to help you in the maintenance workforce. Troubleshooting any electrical problems, especially when you can arrange for issues, will teach you the basic electronics, the electricity, and the troubleshooting skills you need. So when you get done with this class, you'll know how to how to think like an operator, how to think like maintenance, how to think like the electrical person. And there is some programming. It's not a lot, but at least it'll get you to the point where you'll understand the basics of RLD out of several different types of PLCs. So then when you go out in the workforce, you can hook up to the controller, whether it's Allen Bradley, Siemens, or Mitsubishi, and be able to understand what's on that screen in front of you, how to follow it, how to read it.
All right. So we've mentioned a couple of really big time players as far as manufacturers and plants that are going to be using this. Are there other places that I might see a future student land a job? And maybe even tell me a little bit about what a student can expect in terms of salary and maybe even how quick they might get hired after completing this program.
Right now with the workforce, the way it is, this is a very high demand position. I know several, not just me, because I need, like I said at the beginning, I need to, but I know that there are places in New Albany they're still hiring. As for the range, I don't have exact ranges, but I would guesstimate that somewhere in the mid 30s to the mid 40s is where you can expect to get a job, pretty much out starting out after this certification.
And I've even seen that elevation can happen very quickly once you get into the job, once you start working, and it can grow really, really quickly. Is that true?
That's true. If you take that willingness to learn and work hard to your employer with that, then you can easily start climbing up through them.
Okay.
Because we all need that person.
Now, you come from industry, so you
Yes.
work in this field, you are with these people. Tell me a little bit about the future of manufacturing in terms of what you're seeing in industry right now and what you expect to see even a couple years from now.
I expect to see, even across the street, we're doing more automation. We're adding robots. So I see a lot more robots being added. A lot newer factories coming in. They're going to be tooled with robots. I see a lot of drive towards having everything connected with Ethernet over the networks. So I see that is going to keep growing. So I think those are the main growth, especially in this area, is going to be robotic manufacturing with Ethernet communications behind it.
So also, tell me a little bit. I know that people, when they hear automation, when they hear AI and a lot of things technology driven, they might get a little bit nervous because, we know traditional manufacturing. This isn't necessarily replacing jobs. It's making them more efficient. Is that true? And tell me what technology is going to do for manufacturing.
It's going to make it more efficient, and it also helps to protect the worker because Example would be a lot of manual loading of parts. That has, affects the workers' backs. So if you take that away from them, you're now saving people for having to get back injuries and stuff like that. Sorry, I forgot the other part of the question.
What do you think it's going to be happening in the next couple of years, and how that's going to escalate?
This type of automation is going to keep going because it's not only is saving people, it's also, everyone needs to become more efficient. Companies need to keep control of their costs better, and automation allows for that. Because you can always know that you can always produce. If I'm not there, I know my job can't get done. But the robot's never got to take a day off with being sick. So it's always going to run and always run what you predicted it's going to run. You don't have to worry about if you get a case of COVID in your shop and you just wiped out half your workforce. You don't have to worry about that with robots. But mostly it's to protect the people and to make sure you can get your accuracy.
Well, I love the idea that you're saving my back pain. Yeah. That absolutely makes me excited. So, Nick, thanks for sending in your questions. And if anybody else has any questions as well, we'll certainly relay those to Tom, or Joshua might be able to answer a few of those as well. Nick writes, so some parts of robotics automation, you can't take away the human interaction. Tell me a little bit about how we're still working with robots, but we're also making humans interact with them to make them operate.
Yeah, well, to interact with a robot, you need some type of training, whether it's this class or you go to a specialized robot. But you are making that person, instead of being the person that's handling the boxes, you can train them, and now they're the person that teaches the robot how to move the boxes. That same person, somebody else, you can teach them how to troubleshoot the robot. So that way they can focus their skills on that and let the robot take care of the mundane task of just moving the boxes from A to B.
Excellent. So, Tom, I'm going to ask you to show me one more piece of information, but while we travel to that piece, I want to also let everybody know that if you do have additional questions, you can always send them to info@efcts.us. You can also ask them here on the stream. And also you can go to our website at eastlandfairfield.com/automation for even more information. So, Tom, take us to another piece of machinery. We got this one big one over here. I don't know which one you want to take me to, but both of them look really cool.
Well, this one, we'll start with this one. This one's a cell unit, so you can add cells together. It's like where I come from. We have a whole bunch of machines we add together to make one production line. It represents that, where this is one piece of equipment, we're now talking to this piece of equipment, and we've merged it all into one manufacturing cell.
Excellent. Well, can you tell me a little bit more about, again, what is a student going to do on this piece of machinery? What are they going to learn, and where is it going to take them?
Well, they begin with to learn the one piece of machinery, the one piece of the cell. And after they get that, after they learn all the cells, and they learn how all these cells work together to become a single production line. We start at one point and we end at the other point.
That's awesome. And again, if you just coming in on the live stream, what we've been talking about is that these are scaled down versions of the larger pieces of machinery that will be in manufacturing plants. So while you are seeing something that might be about 8 feet long and maybe 3 feet tall, in real manufacturing facilities, these things can be incredibly large. Tom has told us that these have conveyor belts of over 100 feet long, and that these are very large machines that are going to probably not fit in the building space that we have right now, but if you know what you're doing on these smaller scale models, you'll know what you're doing when you go out into the workforce.
Right.
Awesome. So, Tom, we got one more that I'm going to put you on the spot for. Can you tell me? This looks like a conveyor belt that I relate with.
Yeah.
So can you tell me?
It's another sorter one. I'm not exactly sure on the whole details of this one. I haven't messed with this one, but I've seen it kind of run, where it's sorting between two different types of packages in order to let one go through or rejects one. Or send it down like it's going to address A, address B.
Awesome. And here's the backside of that machinery. And obviously, if you can see in the background, we have approximately, I'm going to call it 8 or 9 different pieces of machinery and robotics that are all throughout this classroom and this lab space that our students will be able to enjoy, to learn from, to train on, and then take into the workforce. You can see these robotic arms. I've actually seen these in action already, and they're picking up things as fine as a pen point. So I'm sure you'll get to play with that a
Oh, yeah.
little bit and get to learn the fine mechanics of the robotics that you'll be operating. So Nick asked, with this being a lot of hands-on training, what will the typical class size be? So Nick, what our target is we are trying to be between, I believe, 10 and 15 students. And if we can get 15, that is amazing, but we will certainly keep the class sizes small. You're not talking about huge lecture type classes
Right.
or lecture halls. Tom likes the classes a little bit small too. He seems like a kind of guy that wants to be a little bit more one-on-one with you.
Right.
So Tom, actually that leads into a really good question. Tom, tell us a little bit about your teaching style.
It's a lot of interaction. I've trained a lot of people over my time. It's going to be my first time actually teaching in a structured class, but I've trained guys with me. I train my current employees. I show them what they need to know. I start with the basics with them, and then I start to let them branch out on their own. I'm there for the questions. And when I see a mistake being made, I'll ask them and say, why do you think you need to do that? I won't tell them why they shouldn't do it, but I'll ask them why they decided to do what they do and give them a chance to stop and think about it and go from there. But I do a lot of direct interactions with everybody.
And Tom, this again, very hands-on. I don't get the idea that there's going to be a lot of book work for those that maybe didn't like school because you were always in a book and rather not doing hands-on stuff. Is that kind of a course, or are we doing a lot more?
It's not a lot of book work, but the good thing about the way these courses are structured is you go through, we'll say like 3 or 4 very short chapters, and then you do a hands-on. So you might have, if like we're talking about this cell here, you'll do 3 or 4 chapters and they'll say, okay, now we want you to go and use what you just read. So here's a step-by-step procedure of what we expect you to be able to do. So then you get to come over here, do your hands-on for a little bit, and then you can go back, read some more chapters, come back, do a little bit more different hands-on. And the nice thing too about the Amatrol is there's an online version too. So for some reason we're ever at a point where we don't have enough hands-on stuff for people, you can sit with the computer and do a simulation, and it's the same it's the same task that you would do over here, but you just do it on the computer, and that way you can still do a little bit of hands-on and see how it's going to react. You can even, if you do it wrong on those, because we've played with it before, you can make it like blow up a light bulb and stuff like that. So it will try to show you what happens in the real world if you don't do it right. And then you can switch back. That way everybody's still going to have the chance. But when it starts out small, you're going to have a lot of time to get your hands on and work on stuff.
Well, I like the idea that I can mess up and not actually destroy anything. So that sounds good to me too. If anybody out there is watching and you have any last minute questions for Tom, we're going to wrap it up here with Tom and talk to our Adult Workforce Development Director, Todd Hoffman, just to talk about more of the certifications that you might earn through this program, as well as next steps in case you're interested. So if anybody has any last minute questions, send them on in now, or you can save them for Todd. Tom, is there anything else that I need to know about this program so that I'm either prepared for what is happening in the manufacturing world, or if I'm looking for a new career and I'm just being open-minded about things, why should I consider this?
Well, I think if you're a person that likes to use your mind, you're still going to use your hands a lot, but you're going to be required to think a lot. A lot of the troubleshooting is going to be your knowledge and what you've learned. And you're still going to have the hand skills to do it up. But if you want to change in career, or if you want to progress your career because you're not really as much into the automation, you're in more of the older plants where they don't have as much automation in them, this is the best place to come to get those certifications so you can learn the new skills, learn some of this Ethernet stuff, learn VFDs if you haven't had access to them, learn the robots if you haven't had access to them, broaden your skill set or to get a new profession, and then you can go into something that's always going to be changing, it's always going to be challenging, but it's always going to be rewarding for you.
And I think that is maybe a takeaway for everybody to take away
Yeah.
is that things are changing, things are evolving. Manufacturing may not be what it was 50 years ago, and this is the opportunity to get ahead of the curve and be prepared for that when the evolution begins taking form. Tom, thank you so much. If
Yeah.
there is anything else that people would like to know about the class, where can they go? How can they get a hold of you? Or what would you like to leave them with?
Well, I would say for right now, this minute, it's best to reach out to Todd or Joshua about the classes and any information, any questions you might have for me. They'll be able to funnel the questions to me until we actually start the classes, and I'll be more than happy to pass out any direct communication they can to me at that point.
Excellent. Mr. Tom Luger, thank you so much for joining us, for taking us on a little bit of a tour, showing us what kind of toys that we're going to be able to
Yep.
play with when we come and visit you next. It's been amazing. And so again, thank you. And if anybody has any questions that Tom might be able to answer or if that Todd might be able to answer, we invite you to drop them in on the chat and we'll keep on looking at those and answering those as we can. So if I may, I am actually going to take a quick timeout and get our Adult Workforce Director Todd Hoffman mic'd up so that you can all hear him. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to go about registering for the program, financial aid, and even some of the certifications that are specific to the industrial automation program. So Todd, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. We're going to start you with an easy question because Nick just dropped one in the chat here real quick for us. What's the projected start date for this industrial automation program?
So projected start date is February 18th. That's the day after President's Day. It's an 800-hour program. I know a question was asked earlier about that. Runs about 8 months. Our schedule will be Monday through Thursday. It's an evening program, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. The way it is set up, if we have to cancel or have a Monday class that's on a holiday, we will go through Friday, so we maintain a 4-day class week. Part of the reason for that is the program is broken up into 40-hour increments. So the program starts out with 80 hours of kind of baseline knowledge of industrial automation and all things in this industry. Then we move into micro-credentials. Those are at 40-hour increments. So we've got it broken up so that every 2 weeks, you're learning a new micro-credential. So that's why we're trying to maintain that 4-day class week.
Excellent. And so just so that everybody is aware, if you haven't already caught on, we are inside the campus of Eastland Career Center, which is located in Groveport, Ohio. That is where this class is going to be housed at. So Todd, we are kind of in the heart of manufacturing company. I mean, right across the street is KDC-1. We have a couple other manufacturing plants around us. Tell me about the partnership with some of these places that make this program even more valuable.
So we're very well connected to our business partners in all of our programs. And I need to give a little bit of history about how the program got started. We've always focused on kind of a maintenance area or maintenance field and all aspects of construction. The programs that we already had were based on facility maintenance, and a lot of our business partners are in the manufacturing world. So we already have business partners that are on board, working with us, help us kind of develop the program and help identify what content to deliver. So we've got a lot of business partners. Eastland is right in the middle of a ton of warehouses that may be manufacturing, may be just simply fulfillment centers. But nonetheless, all those warehouses have automation inside them. So we've got our neighbors, literally neighbors, run this type of equipment. So there's a high demand, very local to us. But even if you don't choose to land in Central Ohio, this technology is everywhere. So it's only going to expand. You're not limited to work here just in Central Ohio, but it's everywhere. But we have a large mass of partners here in our neighborhood that need these services.
And before we go into our next question, just want to thank everybody out there that's watching. Debbie, Aubrey, Sierra, Katie, Jake, thank you all for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and we will make sure that we address them, and we'll also address them in our responses and on the website. So, Todd, before we even get into the next question, I mean, we've looked at a lot of different cool pieces of equipment, robotics, manufacturing, some conveyor belt lines, some control panels, things that I'm not even sure that I fully grasp what they do. But if people want to see, feel, and heck, if you really even want to smell them, you can do that too. Talk about an upcoming event that everybody will have that opportunity to do so.
Right. This Thursday, so 2 days from today, we'll have an open house, live open house in the same facility. It'll run from 5 to 6 p.m. It's here at our Eastland campus. Once you come in the entrance, we'll have a door marked. We'll have some cones out to identify which entrance to come to. But you can come right into the lab, see the space that you're seeing virtually tonight, and just get a little bit up close and person viewpoint of all the equipment we have. And you look at this equipment, it is expensive equipment. This is not cheap, but it demonstrates what you're going to see in the larger field in any type of manufacturing or warehousing environment. So as Tom mentioned earlier, you're going to get to practice on this stuff. When he's teaching people in the field, they don't want to make mistakes. That can be an expensive mistake. We can do it here and have a very minor impact by mistake. We all learn from our mistakes, but we want to challenge our students to try to troubleshoot, figure things out. If they make a mistake, fine. It doesn't hurt our whole system. In fact, these training systems are designed for us to be able to build in faults that force the student to identify what that fault is. So a bit of abuse. To help our students learn the way they would in the field. So
Wi-Fi. Okay, there we go. Sorry about the pause there. We were having some Wi-Fi issues there for a hot second, but what Todd said is that this is a class that allows you to make mistakes, that allows you to take risks, and there is not a lot of repercussion back because you're going to learn from your mistakes, which is an awesome, awesome thing. And so if you're following along in the chat, Sammy, welcome to the video as well. Just for clarity, there is a live open house that will be in person here inside the robotics and the industrial automation lab. That will be on Thursday. That is January, what's today's date? Today is the 15th. So that is on the 17th, and that will be at 5 o'clock. It'll be the 16th. My apologies. I always get my dates wrong, and right now it seems like everything's rolling together. So Thursday, January 16th at 5 o'clock, you can come on down here to Eastland Career Center, and you can come see, touch, feel, and talk to our people about how to get into this program. And the February 18th date, that is also in the chat, that is the start date for the program, just for clarity. So Todd, take us through, I know that Tom is going to be the instructor and he's going to be guiding us through this journey, but tell us maybe through the first week or so of classes, what do you expect students to take away, even in just that first week?
I think it'll be kind of an introduction to the automation world. I think we'll start them with some basic automation concepts. There is a safety piece built in. We won't probably hit it immediately, but safety will be embedded in every aspect of the program. When we talk about, we can see here the lockout tagout. Anytime you work on a piece of equipment, you want to lock that out so no one can turn that device on. You have your own lock, your own key, and no one else can access that. So those are some of the topics we'll talk about on the front end to get the students prepared and understanding everyday expectations, what they're going to encounter every day, the basics. Once we get through that first 80 hours of the kind of introductory, then it's when we'll land into the specific topics. They're broken into, as I mentioned, 40-hour increments, micro-credentials. And because we have it divided that way, not only can students take our program and take the entire program, we can also have the opportunity that businesses can send an existing employee back for just maybe a 2-week window or a 4-week window and upskill on a specific topic that they may not have training in otherwise. So the program's designed to deliver training to new students with no knowledge of the program and to existing employees of businesses who need to upskill their staff. So we design it that way on purpose. We think it gives a lot of value to the program. But those micro-credentials, our students can go out and demonstrate that they have specific skills in all these different areas that you're seeing here tonight. and it's just going to make you more marketable.
That's right, Nick. It is awesome. And so, Todd, for the person that may not know, I think we all know what a credential is, but micro credential is kind of a new one. Tell me what the difference is and how that actually makes you more valuable.
So it's basically a more specific line of training. So example would be like pneumatics, which is air controlled devices, and pneumatics level 1. You're going to have like introduction to pneumatics or intermediate pneumatics. So those topics are broken up into specific skill sets or knowledge that you have mastered that you can, with your micro credential, you can show an employer that I know how to do this task. So when you break it down in those finer details, the employer can have a better grasp of really what can this person do. It's hard to read all your skills on a resume, but having those micro credentials just help that employer understand, okay, this is what I'm getting if I hire this individual.
Awesome. And Ray, thank you for the love. It is an amazing school, and you'll be actually right next door to the automation lab over there in welding, and so we appreciate you giving us a little bit of support there. So, Todd, we talked about credentials, we talked about micro credentials, we talked about Tom has talked about where people can go after they complete this program. We talked about how this program is about 8 to 9 months in length. So I think it comes down to the brass tacks now, where everybody's like, okay, what is this going to cost? So if you're unfamiliar, adult programs here at Eastland-Fairfield are tuition-based. So there is an element of cost involved. But what we say is that this is an investment in you. So Todd, talk about the self-investment that people are making in themselves when they come and they enroll in the industrial automation program.
So the cost of this program is $10,000. Don't let that alarm you. The students that we have enrolled so far have been applying for financial aid. Any of our full-time programs are eligible for financial aid, and most of our students so far, they're going to get some Pell money. On top of that Pell money, this particular program qualifies for up to $4,000 in grant funds that most of our students are leaving this or will be able to complete this program with very little out-of-pocket expense. So right now those scholarships or grants are available for a limited time, but I think it's going to be a game changer for students who want to take our program and have very low out-of-pocket expense and have all these credentials that they can advertise and show their employers that they're ready. They're ready to hit the ground running. So yes, if you're paying 100% out of pocket, no assistance, it's $10,000. But that being said, $10,000 is to me, a fair deal compared to taking a program at, say, a 2 or 4 year institution. We don't require all your gen ed, your math, science, English, social studies, anything like that. If you need math and English, it's embedded in this program. It's part of it. So that's not a separate class. It's all inclusive. Everything's in that $10,000 price. We don't have any tools that you have to buy for this program. There's no uniforms per se for this program. Everything's included in that cost. In fact, there's no even textbooks because you'll have basically a license to have access to our curriculum. As Tom mentioned, you're going to have online training available to you where you can play with things, make mistakes, have a light bulb blow up, but then move right over to one of our units and do the real thing on the real piece of equipment. So as I mentioned, this equipment's expensive. We continue to purchase more equipment. We've been going after some grants to help fund the training equipment. And as we have more equipment, there'll be even more hands-on opportunities for students. But meanwhile, we can sit at a laptop and get a similar experience. We kind of do it in gradual steps. Tom will teach the content. Students will learn some more on their laptop. Then they'll go over and actually do the hands-on piece and experience the whatever skill they just learned.
Jim, thank you for joining the video. And if there is anybody out there that is watching that has any last minute questions for Todd or even those that we can relay to Tom, we'd be more than happy to do so. Just drop them in the chat. You can also email those to info@efcts.us and we'll get those to the proper place. So Todd, again, tell me a little bit about that financial aid. I know that we have an amazing financial aid specialist in Mandy Smith who will walk you through the process. Maybe even just talk about the registration process in general if a person is interested in taking that next step.
So first step, call our office. We're going to get you set up and we're going to ask you to take a small assessment. And all that assessment is for so that we can make sure that you have the typical math and English skills that are necessary to take this program. We never want to set a student up for failure, so we want to make sure their math and English skills are at a level where they won't have any struggle with that. Once that's completed, then you're going to move on to your financial aid piece. Mandy Smith is our financial advisor. She can walk you through the whole process, even help out with your FAFSA to help you understand how to fill that out if it's your first time. Once that's filled out and we know how much money you're available to receive, then we walk you through the last steps, just demonstrating that you've got your high school diploma. You are 18 years of age or older, and you've passed that work keys skill assessment on the front end, and basically then you're ready to roll. So yes, there's some steps involved, but it's a fairly painless process because we guide you every step of the way.
Awesome. And like we said, the start date for this class is going to be February 18th. And so you have about a month. That means giddy up. It's getting to be about that time. So
Indeed.
If you're interested, go to our website, eastlandfairfield.com. And if you're interested in more information about the Industrial Automation Program, which we call it the Future of Manufacturing, go to eastlandfairfield.com/automation. We'll put all those links here on the post, and we'll also make sure that you're aware on the website as well. So Todd, one more time, we do have an opportunity for people, if they want to see all the different things that you may be able to use to learn, to train, that they'll have an opportunity to see this in person very, very soon. So tell us one more time about Open House, the where, the when, the what, and how people can get in on it.
So it's this Thursday night. From 5 to 6 p.m. It's here at our Eastland Career Center campus. You enter main campus. You'll take a quick left. You can park in that first lot, and we'll have some flags or cones out here to direct you to this entry. We'll make note of the door number, and we'll make sure you get to the right spot. So very easy to find. We're here on South Hamilton Road, just south of the 33 intersection and just south of Reichert Ford. So everyone knows where that's at. So that's your landmark to find, and if you can find that, you'll find us.
Amazing. Todd, thank you so much for joining us and for leading us through this little virtual tour. I know that we've been looking at a lot of different machinery, and for those that are looking on the live stream, it looks like a lot. Trust me, it was for me too when I walked in. But I tell you, the more time that you spend in this lab, the more intriguing, the more exciting it is to learn about what all these things can do and how they can prepare people for their futures, whether you are looking to upskill, whether you are looking to keep up with the times in the future of manufacturing, or if you're looking for a completely different career that you want to explore, one that makes good money, one that is in demand currently, and one that is only going to grow as technology revolutionizes manufacturing, and you're in a fantastic spot in which you can find jobs immediately after completing the program. We have partners right across the street with our friends at KDC1, and there are plenty of opportunities here in the Central Ohio area. If you are interested in Open House, you can go to our website and find more information at eastlandfairfield.com/automation, and that is also where you can find more information about the Industrial Automation Program and how to begin the registration process so that you can begin classes on February 18th. Todd, is there anything else that people out there need to know, or some parting words that you want to leave us with?
Act now, act quickly. We've got seats filling up. As we mentioned, it's going to be kind of a small cohort for our first group, but we intend to grow that after that. And we're on a short time frame. We need to get the seats filled so we can start on the 18th. And I'd also like to share too that once you have all this knowledge, we are connected to business partners. They're here to hire students as soon as they finish. So we don't guarantee that employment, but we connect them to those employers who are seeking our graduates, who are seeking the skills that we have trained on. So we make that connection, so that kind of eases those students' fears of, well, what next? How do I transition from the training into employment? Well, we do assist with that. We even bring employers in to do mock interviews to kind of help ease our students' concerns on how to go through that process, what that looks like, and what to expect in an interview. So we're the full package deal here. We deliver it all. We're very hands-on. It's a smaller environment so that our students all get to know each other. They work they make it a group effort at times on some of the projects, but they get to know their instructors. They know our staff. So it's a very relaxed, laid back learning atmosphere. And that's what we really, that's intentful. That's our purpose. We want to make sure it's a comfortable environment for our students.
Excellent. And again, if you want to come to that open house and see all of this beautiful equipment in action and talk to our staff, you can do that on Thursday. That is on January 17th, and you can do that, I'm sorry, the 16th, and that is between 5 and 6 p.m. here at Eastland Career Center, where you can come and look at all of these things, ask any questions that maybe we haven't gotten to just yet, and begin that registration process, look at financial aid options, and meet our incredible staff that will guide you through every step of the way. If you need more information on the Industrial Automation Program, eastlandfairfield.com/automation. If maybe this isn't the one for you, but you're interested in another adult program, there are many, both in the trades and healthcare as well as law enforcement. You can go to eastlandfairfield.com/AWD, and you can be connected to any and all of the programs that are offered here at Eastland Fairfield. So thank you one last time for Todd Hoffman, for Tom Looker, and our amazing moderator, Joshua Muncie. I'm Ryan Gasser, and we appreciate you taking your time in your evening to join us for this virtual tour.